Hi, welcome to my tutorial for how to cast a spell in Knockturn, which is the server that hopefully you are now joining or a part of or going to be a part of. I'm Pandette, or also known as Cosette Belle. As you can see, Cosette Belle in the server. I'm the owner of Knockturn, and I'm going to teach you how to cast a few basic spells and just the general concept behind spell casting in Knockturn, which at first may seem overwhelming, but later you will actually realize is somewhat simple. Well, I hope you'll realize. Anyway, the first thing you want to know is the error messages you will get when you're casting a spell. Because all you guys are going to see spell canceled, spell failed, and all of that stuff. So we want to make sure that you know what the error messages are that are going to pop up when you're doing these spells, so you don't think that you're doing something wrong when you're actually doing everything right. So the first thing you want to see is spell was canceled. That means that if you were casting a spell or doing anything, then it is officially canceled. For example, if I were to say Lumos and I start casting and I play with my inventory, I'm also going to get your spell ended because you were clicking in your inventory. So basically, if you start casting a spell, whether it's from clicking once or from saying a word, you know, it's going to say spell was canceled, or if you do something that you're not supposed to be doing while you're casting a spell, it will also cancel your spell. So besides spell was canceled, we also have stuff like, for example, if I said Lumos, oh wow, casting Lumos, I'm gonna click and jab, and I'm not really sure what the wand movement is, so I'm just gonna left click. That's the wrong wand movement for Lumos. Therefore, you will get spell movement failed because you did not use the proper movements for the spell. That doesn't mean that the spell doesn't exist. It means the movement failed. If the spell didn't exist, it would probably, well, it will say spell canceled instead. So if I say random word, you're going to see that no matter what I do, it's going to say spell was canceled because it's not a spell. Now, the last one you'll see is if I were to, oh, wrong one, Fumos. No, I started the spell, now I want to cancel it. Now, Fumos, a duo. See, I'm pretty sure there's like a 90% chance that even if I do the correct wand movements, which are left, down, down, it's going to see spell failed because I am not a higher in this level because I haven't practiced my spells. I'm a very bad student. So even though I said the correct incantation and I switched to the left and then down twice, which is the wand movement for Fumos Duo, I did not succeed at casting this spell because I am not a high enough level or because my success rate just isn't high enough. It does not mean that I did anything wrong. It just means that I didn't have the success rate high enough. So those are the three main things: spell canceled, movement failed, or spell failed. That is the main things you want to know. Now let's start by explaining how spell casting actually works. There are two different kinds of movements. One of them is jab. Jab is the only movement that is not like the others. So if I wanted to jab, I would do left click and then right click, and boom, it's a jab because the last place I left click was there. But if I wanted to switch to the side and left click and I right clicked again, I'm right clicking, not left clicking, then you'll see that I also jabbed, because jab is whenever you click in the same exact spot twice. Okay? Now, another thing you gotta understand is how this is set up. So if I were to start here and then switch down to the center, that is a switch down. However, if I start here and go down, I'm not going to get any messages because that is in a wand movement. And then once I click again, it's going to cancel the spell. So you cannot move from all the way up to all the way down, or from all the way down to all the way up, or from here to here, because it's too far. You can only move one block at a time, and that brings us to the tic-tac-toe board explanation. So imagine that here is a tic-tac-toe board. This here is the very upper left hand side of the tic-tac-toe board. This here is the exact center of the tic-tac-toe board. This here is the right upper side. Then you have the center, where it's like center, left, right, and then down is down, down left, down right. So if I click in this area here, it's going to be the center of the tic-tac-toe board. So if I click from here to here, it's still in the center of the board. I can't move from here to here. I'm going to get jab if I move from here. I have to move from here to, say this is north. I don't know which direction this is, but say it's north. This would be the northwest. And then if I looked here, this would be the north east. So I have to look at the corner, not slightly to the side, but at the corner. Sometimes if you click here and then move here, it's close enough that the distance between the two are different enough. But if you click from here to move here, it's not going to be any different. It's going, like, I'll show you. This will be a jab. But if I cast from here and I left click, right click, it's going to be switched to the left. And they're about the same distance, but this is the center and this is the left. And you have to remember this when you're casting spells, and just imagine that you're casting on a big tic-tac-toe board and you have to look at the right place, and you can only move one square at a time. That's the key, one square at a time. So now that we understand where everything is, let's cast Periculum, which is basically the easiest spell there is, except if there was no wand movements at all. Because all you have to do is left click, right click in the same spot that you left clicked, and then left click. And it's magic. There is Periculum. So that's a jab movement. However, another spell you might find useful is Lumos, which would be a left click here, and then you have to move down because the spell movement for Lumos is swish down. So you want to look all the way down, and then I'm going to right click, and it's going to say swish down. And then it doesn't matter where I look after that, because it's made so that the last left click is the aiming of the spell. So if I want to aim the spell somewhere, I'll left click, and boom. That's it. And the reason why we do that is because if you were to say want to do Periculum, say I wanted to start here and I did that, but then I realized that I want to shoot Periculum over at this direction. So I shoot Periculum in that direction. That's because to start and end a spell is left click, but moving your wand will be right click. So if I were to left click here, I could right click, right click, right click, right click, right click. The second I left click, it tries to end the spell, but because that's not a movement that I have nonverbal for, it is not gonna work because it's spell canceled. However, if it is a movement, for example, if I were to do Fumos, which is a level 1 spell, you guys should be able to cast it. Of course, you can cast every spell, it just might not necessarily be successful, and don't try to apparate, God forbid you splint yourself. Boom! Fumos. It's practically magic. Wait, it is magic. Okay, I take that back. It is magic. So, that is Fumos. We did Periculum and we did Lumos. And now hopefully you have somewhat of an idea of how to cast spells. I'm going to stop this video here, and if people still have trouble later, I will of course be making more videos. Sad panda. So that's it for this video. See you in the server, hopefully.